Welcome to another edition of the Astral Weather Report with the Light Army. I'm Jeremy Eugene Wilson, and every 6 days I come on here to share with you the shifts and alignments in cosmic weather, in astrology, that affects our human behavior. And I've spent a ton of time, energy, and resources studying modern astrology, gene keys, soul sciences, so that we can understand in layman's terms how human behavior is affected. So every 6 days when we move into a new transit, you understand whether to zig, whether to zag, and ultimately so that the way this influences your energy, your thinking, and your feelings becomes a gift, an advantage. And rather than being a distraction, chaos, and noise, it's something you can leverage and put to use for your benefit. So let's get right into it. This week, the mental and emotional forecast, you're gonna feel just a deeper desire for closeness. Maybe you're the one with that desire, maybe it's being demanded of you. People just have this inner sense of wanting deeper bonds, right? Or a fear of being too much, if they share too much, if they go too deep, right? And so expect mood swings, whether it's you, your loved ones, your family, or your team. A lot of it's going to be tied to abundance or scarcity-based thinking. But there could be some mood swings present, so make sure you know how to regulate your nervous system. It's a great opportunity to practice and exercise level 4 of emotional intelligence. Just recognize when you're in it, when someone else is in it, and then do your best to empathize, be compassionate, and help hold space. With your team, with your group, with family, any group dynamics, you're gonna feel just a push for more honesty, for more presence, ultimately pulling you toward intimacy. And what I mean by intimacy is just a safe space to share your feelings, to be vulnerable, to express some transparency. It could feel both magnetic, right? It could be really relieving to share truths, to be completely honest, or it could be very confronting. But either way, the number one way to offset this is just offer more attention, create a greater environment for emotional safety. The sun is moving into gate 59. The earth is moving into gate 55. So the theme for this next 6 days is the alchemy of intimacy and faith, right? So the 23rd through the 28th, you just want to let truth guide your collaborations. This cycle stirs up themes of emotional openness, like I said, transparency, vulnerability, and connection. So for entrepreneurs and leaders, it tests how transparent you're willing to be with yourself, with your team, your clients, and even your family. So the question to ask yourself is, are you creating an environment safe enough to be honest, open, and direct? Authenticity is the key to this next 6 days. So with the sun in gate 59, this is what I like to call the gate of connection. It's the gate of intimacy, and it really opens up this energy to dissolve the barriers, right? To create more closeness, genuine authenticity, which by nature gives birth to all trust. The modern currency is trust and respect. So openness, truth, and honesty can open those doorways. So be real, be raw, but make it relevant to what you want for yourself and the collective, for the groups that you're a part of. There can be a feeling of fear of being seen, a fear of expressing transparently and sharing vulnerably. So, something to pay attention to, I learned from Gay Hendricks, is a pattern of withhold, withdraw, project. The moment we withhold our truth because we don't want to, kill the vibe, we don't want to seem like drama, we don't want to seem negative sharing our truth, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, there's a pattern. As soon as we're in a judgment, as soon as we're in a state of projection in any capacity, the pattern is withhold our energy, pull back, withdraw energy, attention, conversation, and then project, right? It becomes a blame game because we don't feel safe enough to share. We will project that on others, or we can. So it's easy to project blame or justify that withhold, that withdraw pattern. But the way to override this is to avoid surface level conversations. Make sure you're going deep, right? So ultimately, with this combined with the earth in gate 55, which is the gate of abundance, the gate of the infinite, gate of infinite abundance, right? Faith is your fortune. And I'm not here to make this religious, but according to all religions all over the planet, you were made in the image of your creator. And your creator is infinite and eternal. With God, there are no limits, right? So your faith is your fortune. And this isn't just about money. And it's not about wealth. It's not about finances. It's about abundance of spirit. You can't get more if you're not if you don't have gratitude and hold that gratitude for what you have. So the greatest gift you have is, regardless of where your mind goes this week, whether it is financial, it's emotional, it's relational, when you're feeling a sense of lack of confidence, you're feeling a lack of inner emotional certainty, or a lack of money, finances, solutions, and resources, it's really important that you control your focus, right? They always say the pessimists see the glass half empty, the optimists see the glass as half full. And the truth is, it just is. It doesn't matter whether it's half empty or it's half full. All of the money that exists in the world exists. All the love in the world that exists. And so it is your duty to recognize that inside yourself, your focus is the one thing you can control. And whether that's glass half full or glass half empty, doesn't matter. I want you to look in the mirror this week and say to yourself, you deserve the best life has to offer. The confidence you have in yourself, the faith you have in your future directly reflects the confidence you have in your Creator and the faith you have in your future. So there can be some patterns and thoughts of victimhood and scarcity this week. And so one of the gifts of that is in goal setting. I'm certified in a ton of results-based coaching where we focus on outcomes and goals. Some of you probably heard SMART before. The big key is inversion. A lot of people don't know what they want, but everybody knows what they don't want. So this week, when you're focused on the problems, you're focused on that thing that you can improve in yourself, rather than let it create insecurity and fear. Allow it to be a focal point to pivot and use this inversion method, this inversion technique to focus on what you don't want, so that then you can invert that to the opposite, to the polar opposite. So if you don't want to be low on money, if you don't want to have issues in your relationships, whatever you don't want, choose the opposite and just really envelop yourself in your wants. I'm going to go a little deeper on this. Most people, I highly encourage you, look up the map of consciousness. Look up the Hawkins scale map of consciousness. You'll see that fear sits beneath desire, and desire sits beneath anger. And when I ask most people, is anger healthy or unhealthy? Most people say it's unhealthy. And that's because desire with fear still attached to it leads us to the concepts, the thoughts, the worry, the anxiety of not having. And we focus on what we don't want. And when we focus on what we don't want, we get more of it. And that's the key. That's operating from fear. So when you focus on what you want, it creates an energy, a healthy anger, a drive, a motivation to go after what you want with speed, with commitment, with a sense of conviction. So use whatever shows up in your psyche and your thoughts and your emotions that causes you to feel a sense of victimhood or a sense of scarcity to become a focal point to pivot yourself with inversion. What I want is physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, and spiritually. Operate with more faith. Allow it to guide you back to faith, right? Ultimately, there's not a tree on the planet that can run around and water itself or feed itself. It stands there with strength, knowing that the God, the universe, will provide the resources required for it. Birds don't run around like a squirrel in the fall collecting resources to store them out of scarcity. Birds also don't feed themselves. God feeds the birds, but not in their nest. So get clear on what you want. Allow the hunger to drive your action. That's the best way you could really take advantage of this. And you've probably heard it. It's cheesy, it's crunchy, but the greatest form of emotional resilience is gratitude. There is no greater attitude than gratitude. The late Zig Ziglar said that quite often. And the truth is, you cannot feel pessimism or negativity or anxiety while you're feeling and focused on gratitude. So always remember that. We're not going to go into the laws right now of the universe, but the truth is, when you focus on what you have with gratitude, it's believed that the parable of talents, the laws of universal reciprocity, will provide more for you to be grateful for. So pay attention to that this week. The greatest way to align with this energy is just avoid these things so they don't become an energy drain. Misunderstandings caused by unspoken needs, right? This is a week to get clear on your needs, your wants, but don't hold it in with resentment, contempt, and disdain. Really make sure you communicate your needs. We can't read minds. Although some of us have psychic abilities and intuition, it's important that we communicate our needs, our wants, and our desires. Second, scarcity-driven choices, right? When we make scarcity-driven choices, it denies trust and flow. It's like an affirmation of the universe that we don't trust the abundance that's coming or the abundance that exists, that we have the ability to tap into right now. Everything that exists, exists. It's available to us right now. So make sure that you aren't making choices out of scarcity, that you are still operating from a place of trust and flow, no matter how hard it could be. And last but not least, related to this is emotional burnout, right? Don't overextend yourself in your relationships. There's going to be a lot of demand for closeness. Everyone's going to want your time and attention this week. Be available only for that which will charge your batteries, move you closer to your goals and outcomes, or deepen your bonds. Other than that, avoid overextending yourself in relationships, whether it's personally or professionally. You're just going to feel a little more of an energy drain this week. Make sure that you drink a lot of water, you're committed to your workouts, and remember, the person that spends the most energy gets the most energy. You sit on your couch for 2 weeks, what kind of energy you got left at the end of 2 weeks? Nada. The person that gets up and they move their body, they hit their 10,000 steps, they go to the gym for 2 weeks straight. At the end of 2 weeks, even though they spent more energy, they have more of it. So remember that. And the greatest ways to gain energy this week is just practice radical honesty. Be as real as you've ever been. Now, don't be toxic, don't be selfish, don't be narcissistic, obviously, but practice radical honesty. Hey, what I'm really thinking, what I'm really feeling, what I really want, and the needs I really want to have met. First, meet your own needs, but then express your mutual reciprocal needs. Lean into intimacy, right? Don't mask, don't hide. It can be uncomfortable. When I say intimacy, just a reminder, just lean into safe communication where everything can be shared, even if it's a little ugly, a little messy. Create space for that. Lean into that space. And then just anchor your commitments in faith, not fear, this next few days, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. It's been said, it's been studied, science has proven the only difference between excitement and fear is your breathing patterns. So over this next 6 days, make sure that you are feeling the fear, filling your body with lungs, and taking action on the things you've already committed to. Don't skip a step. Some other high ROI habits for this week. Just a little daily reflection. I'll get into the soul prompts here in a moment, but just, am I operating from trust or fear today? Am I operating from faith or FOMO? What is driving my decision making, my behavior, how I'm showing up in relationships, how I'm showing up professionally? And just, I challenge you to have one courageous conversation this week, right? Apply some CPR. Here's the content, here's the conflict, here's the circumstance, here's the problem, here's the pattern I would love to prevent from showing up in the future. What can we do together to resolve this, to create a different result, and ultimately not repeat this problem over and over? Have one courageous, crucial conversation this week. Just reveal the truth of where you're at, reveal where you want to go, and move through it. Whether that requires negotiation, deliberation, or a conversation to lead to collaboration to get toward that outcome, don't avoid it. You know what that one conversation is. Write it down, put it on the calendar, start practicing and prepping for it so you show up in clarity and grace, right? But honor yourself by having one conversation this week that's courageous. And then, just release any residual grudges, any delusions, any scarcity that you're holding on to. Let it go. There's those people no longer in your life. You once in a while still go look them up on social, see what's going on. Stop doing that. Have a little ritual, whether it's something from your past, some trauma, some people, maybe it's habits in your life. Maybe it's delusions of worrying about the future instead of trusting all of the blessings coming to you, or focusing on what your bank account says versus where you want it to be and allowing that to create scarcity. Set a little ritual. I can choose to let this define me, refine me, outshine me, or I can choose to leave this behind me. I let go. Let go or be dragged. Release grudges, release judgment, make amends where you can. And just a couple prompts to really anchor this energy in. Where am I withholding intimacy? Where am I withholding truth? Where am I withholding transparency and vulnerability out of fear of rejection or abandonment? Get really clear. It's not on them. It's not their fault that they don't make you feel safe to share yourself. It is on you to share your truth. My highest value is the truth. And when you show up from honesty, life opens doors nothing else can. So just, where am I withholding the truth, honesty, and intimacy out of fear of abandonment or rejection? How do I let abundance flow, right? How do I let abundance flow through trusting instead of controlling? And affirm that through your behaviors this week. If I had more trust that when I let money go, more will flow to me. When I trust that I treat this like a currency and I add it back to the current, that I'm able to receive more. You can't receive great if you're holding on to good. So this week, how do I let abundance flow through more trust instead of control? And then one final question for you is, just simply, what truth wants to be spoken to create deeper connection with myself, with my core relationships, in my business, with the marketplace, with my team? What truth wants to be spoken to create a deeper connection, deeper trust and respect in my life right now? So that's what I got for you. Pay attention to that. This is the alchemy of intimacy. I'll get it. This next 6 days, the theme is the alchemy of intimacy and faith. And so when we talk about alchemy, our job is to take what might feel like rocky, shaky ground and just be in the truth. Most often you share the truth with somebody, it opens up a floodgate of empathy and compassion. Help comes in. Faith, when fear shows up, when doubt shows up, when scarcity shows up, it's an opportunity for us to exercise inversion, right? That inner critic's always running, telling us all sorts of things that can disempower us. This week, get clear on what you can say, what you can do that will affirm your belief in the opposite, that you have faith in the good things coming. You do deserve the best life has to offer. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the light that inhabits you. You are the electrical voltage. When you breathe in, that light field expands. As you exhale, it retracts. So be the light, infinite love, shine on. Bye for now.